Hello beautiful people, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluchiimoh, and on this channel I talk about cake business. I share tips on personal development, entrepreneurship. I do story time tutorials and vlogs as well, and you're welcome. I share recipes too. You're welcome. If you're stopping by my channel for the first time, you're most welcome to my channel, and if you're an OG, thank you so much for always being here. Thank you for your support. In today's video, just like the title rightly says, I'll be sharing the secrets to having a moist cake. Yes, because they are secrets, not everyone knows them. So for those of you that are new to this information I'll be sharing today, congratulations. And for those of you that already know these things but are not practicing them, you think they're just simple, they're just mere rules, they're just things that, you know, if you like you do them, if you like you don't do them, your cakes will come out fine or whatever. Please, you need to start doing them. All right, so this video is for you. If you want to have moist cakes, melt in the mouth cakes, and then you need to keep on watching because I'll be right back. And you're welcome back. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So the first thing I want to talk about is to use quality ingredients. If you're a regular on my channel, I know you must have heard me say this over and over and over again. Use quality ingredients. And I'm saying this because I've gotten questions in the past couple of days where people are asking different, you know, questions about whether they should use certain types of products for baking their cakes. And now, if you do not use quality, don't expect to get a moist cake at the end of the day, because if you use a low quality product, what are you going to get? There's no magic that is going to happen. If you use something that is of low quality, substandard, you're going to get a substandard result, a low quality result. So you want to go for premium quality ingredients. Yes, I know that things are expensive. I know that the cost, you need to almost break a bank before you get your cake ingredients, and now you're able to buy them. But what kind of business do you want to build at the end of the day? What kind of cakes, what kind of products do you want to build at the end of the day? And that's why when you get to the market, you need to put your eyes on quality products. Ask about people, ask about brands, make inquiries before you just go to the market and get something. Don't use off the shelf, or don't use just regular margarine that you see in the market, what you use for spreading on butter, on your bread. No, don't buy this type of margarine. Buy quality. Now you need to also realize that it's not every kind of flour that you can use for baking. So when you get to the market, or before you start baking your cakes, please, like I said earlier, make inquiries, ask questions. People might not be able to really recommend brands, but I believe that you can read reviews, go to Facebook groups, go to cake groups on Instagram, cake pages on Instagram. You would see where they're having this kind of discussions. You want to ask questions, and you want to also read reviews before you buy. For example, there are certain brands that I cannot even use. Like, you don't go to the market and just pick any brand of flour to use for your cake. Make sure that you're using quality ingredients. So I believe that we've heard enough of that. Let's go to the second point. So the second thing is to use room temperature ingredients. Okay, you must have heard this a couple of times. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it's the truth, and you need to do it. You need to stick to these rules. When it comes to baking and achieving moist cakes, there are things that you need to do to achieve the perfect result. So use room temperature ingredients. Don't store your margarine in the fridge and then you realize, oh, I want to bake in the next 30 minutes, and you use cold margarine and you're forcing it with your mixer, you're forcing it to melt, you're forcing it to come to room temperature. You need to give the right amount of time for it to come to room temperature, or you have it at room temperature, or you bake, and your eggs as well, so that all these ingredients, when you start mixing, they're well incorporated. Your egg is not cold, your egg is not struggling to mix, your milk is not struggling to, you know, to combine with other ingredients. It's a cliche, I know, but like I said, and I'm going to say it again, use room temperature ingredients. The third thing I'm going to be talking about, of course, I would mention this, is your recipe. Okay, everything has to be, there has to be a balance basically in your recipe. So there are some recipes that if you look at them, you know that, oh, this is not really balanced. I've talked about this in one of my videos before. You would just look at the recipe. If you know baking science, or you've been baking for a while, you will know that once you look at this recipe, you know that these things are not balanced. So please ensure that you learn from a professional. Or if you're trying out YouTube recipes on YouTube, you tweak it, you find out what is working. You don't just rely on them totally, because there are different factors that are involved. So get yourself a good recipe and use. Don't just except you're ready to waste ingredients, don't just be doing trial and error. The shortest and the fastest route to doing this is to enroll for cake courses from professionals, those who know their jobs. It's not every cake class you jump into. Yes, I'm going to say that. It's not every cake class you jump into. So know who you should take classes with, and then enroll with them so that your mind is at rest. Look, example, my coconut cake recipe, I've been using it since 2012, since I learned how to bake. Yes, I've tweaked it just a little bit along the line, but that recipe has been serving me till date. So these are examples of what I'm talking about. Get yourself a good recipe and you would have a moist cake at the end of the day. Learn from someone who knows their onions, learn from someone who knows his onions, someone who knows their job, and you are well on your way to achieving a moist cake. Now the first thing I'm talking about is your mixing. Your mixing speed, the kind of mixer you use. I can't categorically say because it's been a while I use hand mixers, but I believe that you would get better results in terms of texture, in terms of volume, when it comes to certain recipes. Yes, that's the key word, certain, so that you don't put me wrong there and say, hey, she said we shouldn't use hand mixer for our cakes. Of course you can use hand mixers, but there are certain recipes that would just require you to use your stand mixer, so that you can beat to the required number of time or the duration, and you can achieve that smooth silky batter when you start mixing your cake. So please try and save towards getting a stand mixer, especially if you're not doing oil-based recipes. With oil-based recipes you can easily probably mix with your hand or mix with your hand mixer, but and for smaller quantities, yeah. But if you want to bake in bulk, you want to bake in bigger quantities, and you also want to bake some certain kind of recipes, you definitely need a stand mixer. So please try and start saving towards that, so that when you mix, you're achieving a good result. Now when it comes to that, I don't want to stretch this too much, so let me just put it under this point. You need to beat your butter and sugar well. I mentioned this not too long ago in one of my videos. I think I'm going to be linking these videos as I'm talking, so that you would you can watch them and have a better understanding. So mix your butter and sugar well. That is a good foundation to having moist cakes. You cannot escape this. You cannot run away from this. You cannot be in a hurry to bake. Baking takes time, so you cannot be in a hurry, and that's why when you're charging, you should charge right, because it takes time. From the baking, from the preparation, even from measuring your ingredients, it takes time, to the mixing, to the baking, to the cleanup and everything. So you shouldn't be charging peanuts, right? So mix your butter and your sugar well. Mix it well to the required amount or to the duration. What we are usually taught in the early days of our baking classes, and even till now, they say cream until your butter and sugar is very fluffy. I believe you must have heard that. Please, if you've heard that, just type in the comments butter and sugar. Okay, so just type in the comments fluffy. Let me know if you've heard that, or just put me a cupcake emoji so I know you're following me. If you've heard that, cream until your margarine or your butter and sugar is light and fluffy. Let me know, until it becomes pale in color. Now these are the keywords that you should be looking for, because we all have different types of mixers, different types of mixer capacities, and different types of mixing speeds. So I cannot just say, oh, this is the amount of time that you should mix for. Mix according to what your recipe calls for. And also, if you probably are still new in this, you want to look out for that point where your batter is light, where your margarine is slightly pale in color, and then when the mix of your butter or your margarine and your sugar is light and fluffy. I believe that you're following me. Please, if you're finding this video valuable, drop me a heart in the comments. Just write valuable right now in the comments, and if you get to like this video, please smash on the like button if you're finding this video valuable. Thanks. So the next point I'll be going to is your baking temperature. Very important, very key and important in baking. Now I've made a couple of videos not too long ago when it comes to oven temperature, baking with your oven, baking with local oven, baking, understanding how to use your oven thermometer. All of these things will help you and they will guide you. I'm going to make a playlist. I've not made a playlist yet, but I'm going to make a playlist of those videos so that you can check and then know what you need to know when it comes to baking with your oven as regards to temperature. So use the right baking temperature. Don't be in a hurry. Like I said in the beginning, don't be in a hurry to bake. Bake for the required amount of time. Let it cook. Normally, the universal baking temperature is 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 1 degrees Celsius. Like some people, I see some variations, but I know that it's 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You can watch the video here or here. If you've not watched it, I think it's here. Okay, so you can watch that video. So bake at this temperature and bake for the required amount of time. Basically, it takes about like some people say they bake for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and all of that. Just understand or follow what the recipe calls for. Bake at the right temperature. Don't bake where to bake too fast and the cake will not be properly done. It will be dry, the texture will be gummy and all. You do not want that. Please avoid that and bake with the right oven temperature. It should not be too high, it should not be too too low. If you watch a couple of my videos that I'm talking about, this particular videos that I'm talking about, this particular set of videos that I'm talking about, you'll understand what I'm saying. So please watch those videos and bake with the right oven temperature. Now the next thing I'm going to be talking about is something that sounds more like an anthem. Now I've been saying it for a while and people have been asking me, what is it? Steam baking. It is steam baking. So put some water, room temperature water, into your oven, at the base of your oven, and let it steam bake. I used steam bake the other day and somebody was asking me, what is it? If I can insert a video for you or a clip for you, I will do that. So it's just simple, it's just basic. For me, I put some water into a baking pan and put on the base rack, and it cooks that way. That is all. You don't need to pour it anywhere, you don't need to do it anything. Just put it there, and the steam would help to cook your to moisten your cakes when it is baking. Yes, it's the truth. There is such a thing as steam baking, and it will help give you a moist cake. Now the next one I'll be talking about, I'm not calling numbers because I've lost count, okay? So the next one we're talking about is to seal in. So seal in your cakes when you're done baking. If I have a clip of that, I will also show you. So people say they cover it immediately once it comes out of the oven. When it's still hot, they cover it and then freeze it. What I do is to allow it cool some minutes. For some cakes, I turn out of the pan immediately. For some, I just allow it to stay in the pan and then turn it out immediately and cover it with my cake pan, right? So I cover it with my cake pan and allow it to cool that way. That way I can trap the moisture in and I will not have dry cakes. My cakes will be extra moist, and it will melt in the mouth. Now the next point I'll be talking about, so that this video is not so long, is for you to, if you like, freeze your cakes. People say it helps with moistness, and I can attest to that. So freeze your cakes, bake ahead, not way ahead, but some couple of days ahead you can bake, and then wrap it up with a cling film and then store in your freezer. When you're ready to use it, depending on the kind of frosting you're using, bring it out to thaw to come back to room temperature before you start baking. For my whipped cream cakes anyway, I cover them cold, very cold, or frozen. That's the way I cover them because they're whipped cream cakes. But for others, you can allow them thaw, and when it comes to room temperature, you would see how moist it will be. The next thing I'll be talking about is the temperature you store it at. So don't expose your cakes to rooms that are too cold, that have very high temperature, AC on, blasting everywhere. Your cakes will dry like crackers biscuit. And you do not want that to happen. So please don't leave it exposed to cold, don't leave it exposed to harsh temperatures, and keep it covered, wrapped up in cling film, and nicely stored. If you're not putting it in the fridge, you don't have a fridge, you don't have a refrigerator, just allow it cool and then cover with your cake pan. I do that. So you just cover with your cake board. You can just cover with the cake board. Any means you can, you can prevent it from allowing harsh weather or dry weather or too much of room temperature weather get into it. Please do, and your cakes will be moist. The last thing I want to talk about is to use butter. Yes, if that's the only thing that you can use for your cake, can afford to use for your cakes, especially for those of us abroad. I know it's a thing, but for those of us here, you might want to try mixing them. Please don't ask me the what is to what, how many of this do we use, how many of that do we use. Please just try and do this, figure it out, try and do this. Yeah, it would help you get a moist cake. So of course, when you bake with butter cakes, butter instead of margarine, you will get, that one is automatic, like it's an automatic result you're going to get from your baking. But if you cannot afford to use it, especially with the price of things in the market now, then you want to try blending. So that is a big secret for those of you that do not know. You want to try it and thank me later. Now, thank you so much for watching this video. I believe that these tips have been of great help to you. If they have, please drop me the word super valuable right now in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Don't also forget to turn on notifications so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. I have a class coming up on Thursday. It's the content creation masterclass. Okay, the fee is 3,000 naira as at the moment, right? Currently it's 3,000 naira. Please do well to click the link in my bio. I will get details on how to make payment for this class. Please join me for this class. Do not miss it for anything. Please do not miss it for anything, because I'm going to be dropping gems, dropping value that would even exceed what you've paid for. So please do not miss it out. Once again, click the link in my bio or send me an email to bakingsecrets@gmail.com and we'll take it up from there. Thank you so much for watching. Until I see you in the next video, stay happy, stay safe, and stay blessed.